The night sky over Montana was clear and full of stars. A quiet wind moved through the trees as Danny Harper sat on his porch with his dog Buster. He had just finished dinner and was drinking coffee when something strange happened. A soft light appeared in the sky, low and moving slow. It wasn't a plane or a bird. It made no sound. Danny watched it go behind the hills near his ranch. A few seconds later, there was a small flash and then silence. He stood up, frowning. "You see that, boy?" Buster barked once, tail wagging. Danny grabbed his coat, a flashlight, and his binoculars. He got into his old pickup truck and drove toward the hills. The path was rough, but he knew it well. After 10 minutes, he parked and walked the rest of the way. What he saw surprised him. Half hidden in a clearing was a smooth, silver object shaped like a teardrop. It was glowing faintly and letting off a low hum. Steam rose from the ground, where it had landed. Buster sniffed the air and growled softly. "Easy, buddy," Danny said, holding up a hand. The side of the craft opened with a hiss. 3 tall beings stepped out. They were thin, with pale blue skin that shimmered. Their eyes were large and black. They wore tight suits that looked like second skins. Danny didn't move. He raised both hands slowly. One of the aliens tilted its head and made a clicking sound. Another scanned Danny with a small device. The screen flashed red, then green. Zirek, the leader, spoke in a voice like wind through leaves. "This life, form unshielded, exposed yet alive." Danny took a careful step forward and reached into his coat. The aliens tensed. He pulled out a plastic bag with half a peanut butter sandwich inside. He held it out. "Hello? I come in peace, I think." The aliens stared at the sandwich. One of them used a tool to scan it. After a moment, Zirek made a sound that might have been a laugh. They had come to study this deadly world. They had expected death, not life. Yet here was a human, barefoot, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, offering food like it was normal. Zirek stepped closer. "What is your name?" Danny smiled. Danny Harper." Buster wagged his tail. Zirek looked at his crew. "We must learn more." And so the first contact began, not with war, but with a peanut butter sandwich. Danny led the aliens through his land with Buster at his side. The sky was dark and full of stars. The air was cold, but Danny didn't seem to mind. He wore just a coat and boots. The tall blue beings followed him closely. They moved with care, scanning everything. Their small tools lit up with strange colors as they checked the soil, the trees, even the air. Zirek looked at his screen and clicked his tongue. "This ground, it is not safe by our standards." Danny heard him and smiled. "It's not perfect, but we make do." They reached a small garden near Danny's house. It was covered in snow, but he cleared some of it away. Underneath were green leaves and roots. "This is how we grow food," Danny said. "We plant seeds. We wait. We eat." One alien leaned down and touched a leaf. "You live off this? Without hydro support?" Danny laughed. "I don't know what that means, but yeah. This and hunting. And sometimes I trade with folks in town." Back at the ship, the crew ran tests on Danny. They used soft lights and silent machines. They checked his skin, his breath, even his blood. Zirek watched the results come in. His eyes grew wide. His body fights things we would need suits for. His lungs take in toxins and clean them. Another alien asked, "How is this possible?" Zirek shook his head. "Their whole kind may be like this." Just then, a truck rolled up the road. Snow flew from the tires. A woman stepped out. She had dark hair and sharp eyes. "Danny," she called. "Hey, Maggie," Danny said. Maggie Cruz walked over. She looked at the aliens and didn't flinch. "Thought I saw something weird on my telescope. Figured it was you." Danny nodded. "Meet our guests." Maggie looked at Zirek. "Are you here to study Earth?" Zirek tilted his head. "Yes, but now we are studying humans." Maggie raised an eyebrow. "Well, let me help. I teach biology, and I've been watching the skies longer than most. She pulled out her notebook. Inside were charts and notes about weather, plants, and animals. The aliens scanned the pages with interest. Danny grinned. Told you she was smart. Zirak looked at both of them. You are not afraid. Maggie smiled. Should we be? No, Zirak said. We came to learn, and now we see there is much to learn from you. As the night went on, Danny and Maggie showed the aliens more of their world. They shared stories, food, and ideas. The aliens began to understand. These humans were not weak. They were strong, clever, and built to survive, and that surprised them, more than anything else. Inside the alien ship, Danny and Maggie watched as the crew ran more tests. One of them, a smaller alien named Vera, pointed a glowing tool at Danny's arm. The light changed colors fast. He is strange, she said. His body fights things we cannot. Maggie nodded. Humans are tough. We've had to be. Outside, snow began to fall again. Buster lay near the ship chewing on a stick. He didn't seem worried about the tall blue beings, but not everyone was calm. A group of men arrived in 2 trucks. They wore heavy coats and carried rifles. Their leader, a man named Carl Grady, stepped forward with his gun ready. What the hell is going on here? He asked. Danny raised his hands. Easy, Carl. These folks aren't here to hurt us. Carl looked at the ship, then at the aliens. They're not from around here, that's for sure. Zirak stepped forward slowly. His voice was soft. We came in peace. We study this world. Carl didn't lower his gun. You picked a weird place to land. Just then, one of the hunters moved too close. A small alien tech rolled out and beeped. Startled, the hunter fired his rifle. The shot hit one of the aliens in the leg. He fell with a cry. Vera screamed. Danny ran over fast. It's okay, Danny said. Let me help. The wounded alien tried to move but couldn't. His suit glowed red where he was hurt. Back inside the ship, alarms flashed. One of the aliens brought out a small medical pod. We must freeze him now, Zirak said. Maggie shook her head. Wait, let me try something. She opened her bag and pulled out a bottle of antiseptic and some clean cloth. She also had a plant-based salve she made herself. This might sting, she told the alien. She cleaned the wound carefully. Danny held the alien's hand to keep him calm. Hours passed. The alien did not die. By morning, he was sitting up. Zirak stared at the results. He healed without stasis, without machines. Vera whispered, maybe they are not just strong. Maybe they can heal others. More reports were sent back to their home world. Earth was no longer just dangerous. It was powerful. Soon, other humans arrived. A ranger named Chris Ellis. A teen girl named Emily who built robots from junk. Even a homeless man named Larry who knew how to live off the land. Each was tested. Each amazed the aliens. Zirak wrote in his log, these beings do not fear hardship. They face it. They grow from it. And for the first time, the aliens wondered, maybe it was not Earth that was deadly. Maybe it was the humans. The days passed and trust grew between the humans and the aliens. Danny cooked big meals over a fire. Maggie showed them how to use plants for healing. Even Buster, the dog, became a favorite among the crew. Zirak watched it all with deep thought. His people came from a world that was perfect. No sickness, no danger, no wild storms. Everything was clean, calm, and controlled. But here on Earth, life was loud, messy, and full of risk. And yet humans were happy. They laughed, sang songs, and told stories like danger didn't even scare them. One night, Vera sat by the fire with Emily, the robot building teen. She asked, why do you make things out of junk? Emily smiled. Because I can. Because I want to see what's possible. Vera looked at her hands. On my world, we are told what to do. We don't just try. Emily handed her a small motor she fixed. Well, now you can. Back at the ship, Zirak studied human history. He read about wars, floods, fires, and plagues. But he also read about art, music, space travel, and love. He turned to his crew. These beings do not fear pain. They learn from it. That is why they survive. Then came the moment that changed everything. Danny invited the aliens to a small party at his ranch. People came from town, kids, farmers, even old Mr. Lang, who hadn't left his house in months. They ate, danced, and played music. One of the hunters played a guitar. A girl sang. Even Carl Grady, who had been so scared before, clapped along. Vera stood up and tried to dance. She was bad at it, but everyone cheered. Zirek watched from the edge. He felt something new. Not fear, not duty, something like wonder. Later, he spoke to Danny. Your kind lives in chaos, yet you create beauty. You suffer loss, but still you go on. Danny shrugged. That's just being human. Zirek looked at his crew. Some were smiling. Others were crying. Emotions they had never felt before. For the first time, Zirek wondered, maybe Earth wasn't just deadly. Maybe it was alive in a way no other world was. And maybe, just maybe, his people had a lot to learn from these strange, tough, joyful humans. Zirek wanted to learn more. He asked Danny and Maggie for help. We must see how your kind survives when things go wrong. Danny looked at Maggie. She nodded. We know a place, Danny said. The next day, they led the aliens to a stretch of land near the mountains. The ground was cracked. Smoke rose from old fires. The wind was cold and sharp. This used to be farmland, Danny said, but last year it burned. Zirek scanned the area. His tools showed high heat, low water, and bad air. This place should be dead. Danny smiled. It isn't. He pointed to small green shoots coming up from the dirt. Life comes back here. Always does. To test humans even more, Zirek made a plan. With his ship's tech, he created a dangerous zone nearby. It had fake volcanoes, thick smoke, and bursts of heat. He sent a message to the town. Help needed. Enter the danger zone. Bring nothing but your will. People came. Not just strong men, but mothers, kids, and old folks too. Tina Morales arrived first. She worked 2 jobs and raised her little brother alone. When she heard a child was stuck inside the zone, she ran in without waiting. Through smoke and fire, she found the boy hiding behind a rock. She carried him out, coughing but smiling. More followed. Chris Ellis, the ranger, mapped the area and helped others find safe paths. Larry, the homeless man, used what he knew to make clean water from mud. Even Emily came. She built a small robot to carry supplies. Zirek watched everything. His crew recorded every move. These beings don't run, Zirek whispered. They face danger, and they help each other. Back at the ship, Vera looked at the data. They are not just tough, they care. Zirek wrote in his log, humans do not survive by strength alone. They survive because they fight together. That night, as people rested around the fire, Zirek stood beside Danny. You are not weak, Zirek said. You are not scared. You live on a world that fights you, and still, you win. Danny smiled. That's just life here. Zirek looked at the stars. Then maybe we should not study Earth. He paused. Maybe we should fear it. The time had come for the aliens to leave. Their ship was ready. The data they had gathered was more than they had ever expected. Earth was not just wild. It was full of life that could not be broken. Zirek stood by the fire with Danny, Maggie, and Vera. Buster lay nearby, chewing on a stick like nothing strange was happening. We must return home, Zirek said. Our people need to know what we have learned. Danny nodded. You'll tell them Earth is dangerous? Zirek smiled, just a little. Yes, but not in the way we thought. He looked at the humans who had helped them. Tina Morales, Chris Ellis, Larry, Emily, and so many others. They were tired, covered in dirt, but still smiling. They are not afraid, Zirek said. They do not wait for help. They give it. They take pain and turn it into strength. Maggie crossed her arms. So, what now? Zirek turned to his crew. We send our report. We warn our kind. Humans are not weak. They are not victims. They are something new. Then he looked at Vera. She had changed. Her eyes were softer. Her voice was full of feeling. She no longer spoke like a machine. I want to stay, she said. Zirek did not stop her. He only nodded. This world has done something to us, he said. It has made us feel. Back on the ship, Zirek sat before the main screen. He typed his final message. To the Council of Worlds, we have studied planet Earth. It is not safe. It is not calm. It is full of danger, pain, and noise. But it is also full of life that does not die. Humans suffer, but they grow. They fight, but they care. They live without perfect safety, and still they thrive. They are not ready for the stars. But they will be. Do not come here. Not yet. They are not prey. They are not pets. They are not weak. They are human. As the ship lifted off, lights glowing in the dark sky, Danny, Maggie, and the others watched from below. Vera stood at the window, waving until the clouds took her from sight. Buster barked once. Danny smiled. Guess we made some friends. Maggie looked up. Or maybe we just showed them what we really are. Life went on after the aliens left. Danny kept working his land. Buster still ran through the fields like nothing had changed. But for Danny, everything felt different. Maggie went back to teaching, but now she talked more about space, survival, and what makes humans strong. Her students loved it. Some even started watching the skies at night, hoping to see another ship. Vera stayed behind. She lived in town, helping where she could. She learned how to cook, fix cars, and mend fences. She also started drawing. Strange alien shapes mixed with trees, stars, and faces. She said Earth made her feel things she never knew existed. Joy, sadness, love, even hunger. In the weeks that followed, word of the aliens spread. Some people didn't believe it. Others thought it was a government secret. A few feared Earth might be watched by other beings now. But those who met the aliens knew the truth. Earth was not just a planet. It was a test. And humans passed. Far out in space, Zirek's report reached the Council of Worlds. Ships from other stars began to watch Earth from afar. They read the message, "Do not come here yet. This world is not ready for you, and you are not ready for it." Back on Earth, life kept moving. Tina Morales got a better job. Chris Ellis wrote a book about surviving tough land. Larry built a small home near the forest with help from friends. Emily kept building robots. One day she looked up at the sky and whispered, "We'll find you someday." And maybe they would. Maybe one day humans would leave Earth and meet others among the stars. For now, though, Earth remained what it always was: wild, loud, dangerous, and full of life that refused to die. Danny sometimes got letters from Vera. He read them aloud by the fire. Each one ended the same way: "Thank you for showing me what it means to be alive." Buster wagged his tail every time. Above them all, the stars blinked like eyes. Watching. Waiting. Earth was not alone anymore. But it had never been weak. It had only ever been human.